Good afternoon and welcome back to live streaming coverage from the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. My name's Jerry Gertz of Curling Zone, joining you here for the women's final. Ottawa's Lauren Mann taking on Winnipeg's Jennifer Jones. Looking forward to a great game here. The Stu Sells Toronto Tankard is playing at the KW Granite Club this year in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. To set the scene here, Team Man has that's Karen Trines throwing lead stones. Cheryl Krevizik is at second. At third, Kira Brunton. And at skip, Lauren Mann calls the game, throws the last two stones. Of note, Kira Brunton has won the last two women's events for the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. So back-to-back champion coming into this event. Maybe a little bit of a good luck charm on the man side here. Of course, Jennifer Jones playing with three this weekend. Caitlin Laws had to leave for a family matter. Nothing emergency, but something she needed to go home for. Jocelyn Peterman is throwing the middle three stones. Lisa Weigel at lead, throwing the first three, and then Jennifer Jones, the skip, and throwing the last two stones here. So Lisa Weigel, new player with Team Jones this year. They will be playing with a 5-player squad. The idea is that they get Lisa into the lineup, rotate around, give other players a break. Just gets caught on the straight side there. That's been a standard story here on sheet 4 at the KW Granite Club. Just an adjustment with that center aisle way as the new ice maker here, Rob Adams, learns the building. Has put together an amazing surface all week. The players have been raving about the ice. Typically 4.5 feet of curl, 26 seconds of speed, which is hogline to stop on draw weight, which is quite fast actually. Not only do these players get to play early and get a chance to get on the ice, it's great that they have a chance to do so on such a great surface as well. Little miscue from Weagle on the previous shot leaves Mann shot stone underneath. Jocelyn Peterman being asked to clear some rocks here on the front. Wanted to hit that on the outside, make the double on the two reds, but crosses the face and jams the guard back onto one of her own stones. Mann now lying 2. Looks like actually, 3 with the one on top. The challenge, though, is that red stone on the side there in the 8-foot is open. So there are ways into the rings here yet. Pretty nice shot there from Kira Brunton. Chip shot stone underneath, rolls and covers the higher guard there, though it does open up the one in the rings. So Jones is going to make a play at this. The good news for Mann is they have the a path there in the middle. If Jones does make a shot here, Mann can follow down, lock off that space, and essentially lock in the force for 1 here. Jones settling on the double on the outside here. Ooh. Looks like there was a possibility if they get that a little straighter, they get all 3. So close to perfect. Just got by that second red stone. Does remove 2. So for Jones here, that does open up the scoring area a little bit. In a bit of trouble. So she's going to be happy to have a piece of the 4-foot to draw to, and so far so good here. Peterman gets more stones moving. Bit of a challenge here now for Team Man. They need to be careful. Jones with a couple counters around the edge. Jocelyn Peterman with a couple of nice shots there to recover, to clean up and open the middle. Really critical there to lie two. Nice and even across as well. Jones with was second and third stone there. Possibly that stone in the top also on. So all of a sudden, you know, Team Man was looking good here. Had a chance for a steal. A couple of nice shots from Jocelyn and a mistake from the Man side. And all of a sudden, Jones is kind of hanging around here. Take a couple nervy shots here early. Jones going to play a hit and roll here. Wants to try and get all the way underneath the center. Sticks it on the nose on the wing there. Again, for Man, it's a critical shot here. Has to stay in the rings with this hit. Needs to try and leave it in a place that doesn't leave a double for Jennifer Jones. You see there the indication to roll to the outside, certainly acceptable. You roll, you make that double, or if you just roll towards that other stone, Jones will be forced to draw for a single point here in the first end, and Team Man can consider that a success, and they'll get a chance with the hammer themselves. Lauren Mann, last stone. Jones with one more to come. The hit and stay looks pretty good here right now. There's a little bit of an angle, and they're going to take a look at it. But it's going to take a pretty significant throw to make that double. The other thing is this will jam on the back stone as well. So a good chance it outcounts one already. Now they may look at the hit and roll here anyways. Facing 2. Jones threw a pretty big weight hit on her first. So this is one way to also minimize the damage with a little bit of a miscue. Jones, very rare that she would flash this altogether. So we'll make contact. Just needs to make a little roll inside to score their single point here in the first end. Just a request to all the curling fans here watching along. Please share. Lots of comments. Let us know where you're watching from on YouTube. Share it with your friends. Share it to Twitter. Let everybody know that you're watching the curling game here. There's little buttons you can find. Share the content. It helps with our numbers and helps us show more curling in the future as well. Last stone here, first end. Jennifer Jones looking for the roll. Does not go far enough. It will be a steal of 1 here for Lauren Mann. She will take a 1-0 lead into the second end here at the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. We'll be back after this short break.
When I sweep with the Gold Line Fiber Light, I feel like I'm sweeping on TV.
That's life.
More surface area, better results.
It's that easy.
It's that easy. You need to sweep for weight?
You need to sweep with this.
Now, every time I curl, people ask me, what are you sweeping with?
What are you sweeping with?
What are you sweeping with?
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Firehouse Subs has so many delicious quality subs. There's something for everyone. But the one that started it all more than 25 years ago was the Hook and Ladder. Piping hot and piled high with freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, honey ham, melted Monterey Jack, and loaded with the freshest toppings on a toasted roll. Try the Hook and Ladder today to find out why everyone keeps coming back again and again. The Hook and Ladder. One bite and you'll be hooked. Visit firehousesubs.ca to order online.
Happy Thanksgiving from Team Mann. We're really excited to be here in KW, headed to the final at 12:30 against Jennifer Jones.
Thanks so much to Curling Zone and Stu Sells for organizing this event and live streaming throughout the weekend. Thank you to our sponsors for making this weekend possible.
Thanks for all our family and friends for the support, especially Dawn, who's on diaper duty all weekend. Love you. Sorry I missed the turkey dinner, Mom. Coming home soon.
Back to curling here at the KW Granite Club. Team Mann up 1-0. Stolen point in the first end. First stone goes in for Team Mann, and the corner guard out of Team Jones. It is pretty tight to the ring, so she may throw another one. This is a good time to consider a second corner guard, sorry. Team Mann throwing both into the rings. They're really not presenting much of a fight in the middle, so you can kind of lock down the corner side here a little bit. Going around, also an option here for Team Jones. Keep the play a little bit more conservative. So that second corner guard out front is going to give Jones an opportunity to play some stones around that corner. So now for Team Man, they need to set up and keep this control in the middle here. Trying to keep this line here. Wrecking the guard, though. Certainly nothing wrong with that. Opens up the middle. The guard does spin into the rings, but that position around that corner guard there is a good spot for Jones. She may be able to come down, play that back, tap that back a little bit, and use it as backing in there. Just wants to put this guard back out front. Again, that rock is quite tight for Jones to come down. She could play the double on those two stones in the middle, and that shooter, if you roll that across to the side there, you can probably get it close to onto the rings and potentially start to count some stones along the sides there. Does get some granite moving. Takes the one on the side away. More importantly, does bump that stone back of the forefoot out into the open a little bit. Not such a scary rock there anymore. I'd like to welcome Danielle Inglis back to the show.
Hey, Jerry.
We've got Jennifer Jones, Lauren Mann into the second end here. Mann stole a point in the first end. So good start to this women's final here at the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard.
Oh. Looks like they've got a good setup as well starting this end.
Mann taking the play into the middle here. They did have a center guard tight on their third stone, but for the most part, they've been trying to keep Jones away from that corner guard, just using the rocks in the middle. Jocelyn Peterman looking to clean up here. Makes the double on the top two. Stays right there. It's actually a pretty good stone.
That was a great shot. Great cleanup. Now, Team Man has to be careful with what they do with this yellow rock. Little essentially you do have those two calls, either a draw behind or a hit and roll. What they're concerned with the hit and roll is not only the jam, but also where they would leave their shooter, even with the roll. Because if they roll close to the guard and don't quite get all the way over, then that makes an easier hit and roll behind the guard for the Jones team.
Yeah, this is where the lack of aggression from Team Man could get them caught here. Like, they're certainly in it for 2 for Jones right now, unless they make everything perfect from here. Just an update, Caitlin Laws is back home in Winnipeg. Personal family matter that she had to deal with this weekend that came up, and everything seems to be okay there with Caitlin and her mother and everything, so nothing to be concerned about. Of course, Don McEwen had never planned to make this trip. This weekend was about getting Lisa Weigel into the lineup, getting some games in under their belt. As a new team this year, it certainly challenges to find a way to get together a little bit. Men's final is coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern. Glenn Howard and John Epping. See if Epping can put a dent in that Howard armor. Undefeated in 10 games so far this season.
Strong start. There's a bit of a missed opportunity here, though. For the draw, just going straight through the rings. Even on the 3-player team situation now with only one sweeper, you're kind of in that same position, but now you're get a couple more rocks to throw. So definitely a shake-up in the lineup, and wishing Caitlin well. A call here for Team Man to play either a guard or maybe even say they don't want to bring it in, because then that's double and could even leave a double and roll behind the guards. But a tight guard is what they're looking for.
Something they can use on their next one. Tight to the rings here. Now just get the line right.
It looks like this one's flipping a little deeper than they wanted it.
Yeah, you wanted to keep that at least in the 12-foot so the double doesn't naturally roll behind the corner guard.
Not that it's an gimme by any means.
You just don't want to set up the shot to be made, right?
Exactly.
You know, if the natural double is there and Jennifer can make it, and the shooter rolls to a place, making that a place now under a guard is a bad idea.
Exactly.
So, you know, anywhere in the right line there, up a little bit higher would have been a great shot. But now, not an easy double here. More likely going to roll out, making this double, because it is a little bit angled, where she's got to cross the face of this a little bit more. We'll see what she's got here. Gets it right on the nose.
I like their initial call. The corner freeze on the yellow, though you have to be pretty precise. If they can get this overlapped about half a rock, that will, looks like it would be forcing Team Jones into a cold draw or a tap on the yellow, potentially.
Yeah, if they can see some of that yellow, they're going to be able to play a tap on it, tap it in. So I think for Mann, she's going to want to, try and maybe half freeze on that stone.
Yeah. It's really
the more she freezes, sorry Danielle, the more room she has on the draw on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the tolerance on this shot is if you're a bit light, that's fine too, as long as you're covering the rock and the yellow rock. But yeah, half a freeze, no bump is pretty perfect.
Yeah, you got to be pretty close here. If you're about a rock too heavy and you get by the yellow, that's maybe better than called. But again, if you're not buried at all, you got to at least tuck a hair. The double will be pretty makeable, and a fairly straightforward shot for 2 is left behind. So key shot here has to be pretty precise, Lauren Mann. Last stones here. Jones with one more to come.
Looking pretty close.
Really nicely thrown
Nice
stone.
shot. As you're looking, they've taken away the bump on the yellow. I think they might be looking to see if there's any drag effect coming into play.
Yeah, I'm wondering here if you hit this a little bit on the left-hand side here, right-hand side on this view.
Mm-hmm. That's why it was
will drag back.
Yeah, that's why it was so important for them not to curl up. They did curl up like an inch or two too far, but again, that's why talking about that was a pretty precise shot.
Yeah, exactly. Half a stone probably would have been okay. It would have taken some of this drag away. Maybe a shot for 2 here. Nose hit. Just a hair on Jocelyn's broom side there. Up over 13, almost 1,400 viewers already around the world following along between our YouTube feed, Facebook stream. Love to break last weekend's record. Jennifer Jones's win at the Stu Sells Oakville Tankard. Looking for 2 here, second end. And not this time. Hit that a little too thin, I think. And it just didn't take the drag quite the same. It'll be another steal here for Team Mann. Off to a 2-0 lead here at the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. We'll be back after this quick break.
Hi.
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 I'm Sean Chang.
My name is Chris.
Hi, I'm Phil Hanna.
And I'm an RBC mortgage specialist.
I can meet you where you work, where you live, or halfway across town. Unia Mortgage Specialist.
You can find us anywhere, from here
to here, and even way over here.
But what is a mortgage
specialist?
And what does a mortgage specialist do?
What does a mortgage specialist do?
What does a mortgage specialist do?
Well, to start, we understand our communities.
Whether you live in Little Portugal
or run and operate a store in Bloor West Village,
we want to understand you. We take the time to get to know each and every one of our clients.
Because we all have unique circumstances.
And we would love to get to know yours.
So, let's meet at your closest branch.
Or maybe over a cup of coffee.
So we can understand what matters to you.
We're here to support you.
And we never,
ever
leave our clients behind.
Whether you're buying your first home
or your fifth, or even when you're looking to build your dream home.
We bring our deep understanding of the real estate landscape and our communities
together under the one team of RBC.
Para melhor atender você.
Because our goal is to help you achieve yours.
Our goal is to help you achieve yours.
And we'll work tirelessly to make your dream home a reality.
To make your dream home a reality.
Your goals and dreams deserve an expert. Come and see an RBC mortgage specialist today, where we won't leave a client behind.
Back here for the third end, joined by Danielle Inglis.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Interesting start to this game. Lauren Mann steals in the first and second.
Yeah, Lauren's always been a shooter. She's been a great curler. A little bit hasn't always been seen. Not one of the big names that you always see on tour, but she's a good shooter and she's a smart curler as well. So
yeah, I think part of that is the amount of play that this team gets. A lot of good players out there on the regional tours who are doing more to balance life and curling. Playing 4 to 6 events in a fall calendar schedule, whereas your Joneses, your Eppings, your Howards, they're on the tour 10, 12 weekends and getting into the slams and committing a lot more of their time to the game as well. So this is where we kind of merge the two of them together here on the regional and local tours.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks everyone joining us. It's fun seeing where you're all from across Canada, across the world right now. And of course, feel free to ask us questions through YouTube chat or through Facebook chat, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can.
Shout out to Jennifer Stannard running a watch party. Great to see friends south of the border tuning in and joining in for the fun as well. I know USA Curling is working on an event for next weekend. They're going to have some of their teams on the ice in Chaska in a bit of an informal scrimmage round-robin event between the men and the women.
It's great to see people still being able to curl when it's safe to do so.
So again now, Team Mann's going to have to keep the pressure on. 2-0 lead this early in the game. Jones is not done yet. Yeah, anybody watching along, if you're able to throw a share out there, post it on your wall, send it on Twitter, put it on Instagram, let people know you're watching along. Let your friends know. Be their hero. Tell them there's curling coming on. So we'd love to have everybody come tune in here. Sorry, Danielle.
No, that's all right. I'm just equally as excited to have people on here, and just kudos to you and your team again for all you're doing to bring this live curling to people. So it's great. The more people share and support it, the better it will be. Looked like that rock just picked though, right towards the end and went sideways. Lisa looking a little confused, and you can see Lauren going up there to sweep it. So definitely a pick.
Yeah, Jocelyn was on that pretty much most of the way down the sheet and just right at the end.
Yeah, well, that's where when you have handprints or footprints on the ice, no matter how much you sweep through it, you can't sweep through it. And in a matter of fact, it sometimes makes it worse. But most of the time, you don't always know it's there. So.
Yeah, a spot like that, it's almost as if you got to give it a chance to heal. Every time you rub it down, it just warms it up some more, and you got to let the natural cold cool it down. Same thing you see this. I remember Jim Waite talking about this, where you see this happen all the time, where a player comes to rest after throwing the stone at the hog line, and then the sweeper steps up from the other team and, cleans the path with a good scrub. What they're actually doing is damaging the ice even further and sort of exacerbating the problem by adding more heat. Exactly. So if you want to just sweep that spot to clear possible degree, just a light, brush across it is all you need.
So Jocelyn coming in here with some firepower. Need to clean this up. It's getting a little junky at the top. Still a lot of rocks, but some better angles than what they had there before. Now at least their yellow is accessible over on the top 12 area. Still, you can see Team Mann, great opportunity. If they can Christmas tree it in behind, so wrap about half a rock in behind that guard at the top, it'll make it tough. So you can see there are a couple guards up there. If they can wrap it half around, they'll be sitting well. It'll be tough for the Jones team to get up both those rocks. They're still a few shots away of that. So crucial shot coming up here from Kira Brunton.
You know what? They've come out firing today. Kira Brunton, back-to-back champion in this event, skipping her own team. So, you know, looking for the big upset here. Taking down Team Jones would be a pretty big strike. But, you know, Kira's got some experience at this event.
Sure does, and they had the line, just unfortunately, it was about 4 feet too much weight. Now you can see there's an opportunity to hit and roll for the Jones team. You can align it, so crucial shot. That's where you talk about, sure you have to make every shot, but you've got to look for those shots that are really going to change the end, and Kira's shot was one of them. And this shot here coming up from Jocelyn is another potential end changer. She could get the team out of a lot of trouble.
Needs to get to the inside here. Just a shout out from Nancy. Says Lowell and her are watching in Red Deer. Lowell is Jocelyn's father. Pretty good curler in his own right out of Red Deer.
So they talked about playing the role inside. The trouble with that is it would be only right on the tee line, if not even potentially a bit behind, and Jones could come in and freeze it. So talked about a bit of a roll out here as a potential option.
Yeah, still an incremental improvement here for Jones. That rollout is going to force Mann to have to probably do the same, and now the draw around the middle is open for Jones.
Yeah. So as you said, here comes the draw. We'll keep this pretty precise. Just biting the top button would be pretty perfect. Even peeking a bit out there so they align it with the back rock would be pretty good.
We've got some curling fans cheering on their favorite teams. I think it's quite clear Jamie Turtle is a Jones fan.
No doubt.
Everybody picks their favorite, and that's the great thing about having so many different personalities in the sport as well.
At least the backing rate off this, and again, the line would have been absolutely perfect. Just need to take about 6 feet off there, and this is where that one sweeper factor comes in across the board. You're having to get used to knowing that you only have one sweeper to rely on, and because sweeping's become such a big part of our game now, not having that second sweeper does play with your mind, and you end up throwing the rock a little bit different as a result.
Lots of great curling going on this weekend. I know Team Cooey also doing a live stream from the McKee Homes Fall Classic. I want to make sure everybody knows about that one as well. Open up 2 streams or join them after we're done. They're on to the quarterfinals right now there. Team Cooey obviously hoping to get through semis and into a final later on this evening. If you do go watch them, be sure to let them know we sent you as well. We do have men's game action, the men's final, John Epping and Glenn Howard coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm just getting an update, and the streaming may be done. Team Cooey lost. Aaron Sluchinski got them in the quarterfinals. Wow.
Oh. Another good team out west there.
Yeah, Sluchinski's been one of those teams right around the fringes there in Alberta. You know, you probably put them into that category as competing for third best in Alberta right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Them and Sturmey and Hardy and, you know, a handful of other teams as well. So anyways, there are 4 Cooey games from the weekend that if you go over to their Facebook page, you can always go back and check it out. I know they've been doing a great job covering games with multiple cameras and commentary and, you know, trying to bring the game to the whole next level.
Well, missed opportunity to sink a second one around. Again, both teams seem to be finding the line, but not quite the weight. Might be a bit of a tricky spot. Of course, that's a great shot of the house. You can see that yellow in the back 12 there, but it is Team Man shot back 4. Also that other yellow in the top of the rings.
Yeah, no real great shots here for Jones.
Just haven't quite had the angles yet this game.
Yeah. Yeah, this is her first shot here in the third end. If she had to make a play right now, she could run that yellow one in. But here, you know, she may be saving that for her last shot just in case. Using this shot to try and set something up or maybe open up some space on the other side, because we all know Team Man is going to come down with some sort of a response here, and Jones needs 2 options to score.
Yeah, so running a straight back, catching it on the center line side is ideal, splitting it off to sit 2.
Not a lot of weight here. Coming through the hole, maybe?
Oh, potentially. Tough to tell when you don't have...
Yeah, we got the same view as everyone at home here. Oh, this looks real close. The rub. Oh, no.
They were trying, and that was pretty close to being there.
Oh, man.
She knows it. So close. But as you said, Jerry, there is still that run-in on the right-hand side. But Team Man, I imagine, will be looking at draw through that hole now. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, Jones does open up that side, so Team Man's going to have to throw the draw here, kind of get in the way somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of room to work with, anywhere from top of the button probably to, you know, just over the hog line. As long as you block that line, you're pretty good.
Yeah, though I would say they're with those yellow ones sitting on the side, they do want to make sure they're in for a second shot so that if she does play the run, it's not a run for 3.
Is there a third one in the rings as well?
There is. There's one yep. Oh, that was a beautiful camera pan up. You can see there. Tough to tell.
Yes, right there at the top. I see now. Yeah, and the
yellow,
one in the back, there is one in the back too.
Yeah, I think yellow, even though Team Jones with their rock bump to the red end, I think yellow is still shot, but we'll have a better look at that later. But right now, crucial draw here from Lauren Mann.
Yeah, she'll want to make sure that she either touches that stone, gets in a bit, gets through the hole herself would be ideal.
It looks like it's up a bit. They may even have to look at a chip off of their rock in the top 12.
Nose tap is perfectly fine too.
Yep.
Just don't leave a double.
Oh, it's not bad actually.
Yeah, I think that the double is a slash double here to score 2.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not there's a hole there for a draw of the button, but it's not the easiest hole to negotiate.
Yeah, that may be the force point here. Not 100% sure. I think that does outcount the yellow in the back, too.
I believe so.
So really only shots here for Jones, draw for 1, or the slash double for 2. Looking at the slash here. You know what? Seems like a real hard shot, but what? Two-thirds? Half a stone here?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's easier than a draw right now with one sweeper.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it may not be the easiest shot for everyone. Everybody's got to make their own decision because you really have two. You have the draw or the double. But if I were throwing this rock, I'd probably also be throwing this shot.
Yeah, you know, you simplify this shot, right? You just got to hit the first stone where you want to. The stones will do what it's supposed to do after you hit the first one in the right spot.
Well, plus this is a shot for 2 instead of a draw for 1. So risk reward.
What was the line? I think you used it early. You might as well play the harder shot for 2 instead of the also hard shot for 1. Something like that. Oh no!
Oh, that was just an unfortunate break.
Oh goodness! That looks like a steal of 2. In a bit of shock here, Danielle. Team Jones gives up a steal of 2 there, just hits that in the only place they couldn't. And Lauren Mann leads 4-0 heading into the 4th end here. The Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey guys, we are here at the Summit at King and Bathurst, and this condo complex is crazy. Look, it's got an outdoor pool, it's got 2 barbecues, has an indoor pool, full gym, yoga, workout room. This is truly like being at Club Med. Now, we're bringing this amazing 1-bedroom and den condo unit to market, brand new wood floor, brand new gorgeous kitchen, brand new bathroom, open concept. This building was built about 30 years ago. When they built these condos, they built them for living. So we're almost 700 square feet of open space, floor to ceiling glass, so much room, closets, storage. This is an amazing unit. So go to stusells.ca, look at all these pictures, see the video, and then call me, Stu, and come for your personal tour.
Some people see the world a little differently. Where others see problems, they see possibilities. And they have the curiosity and ingenuity to turn those light bulb moments into awesome realities. We know who you are.
Hi everyone, I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you to all of our fans and sponsors for tuning into the stream this weekend.
We're so grateful for all of our fans and our sponsors, and just wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thanks for all your support. Happy Thanksgiving.
And I know it's a little bit different this year. We're wishing you and your family health and happiness.
Back to the action here in the 4th end. Stu Sells Toronto Tankard women's final, and yes, that scoreboard is correct. Lauren Mann and her team has hopped aboard the steel train. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 more in the third. 4-0, Danielle. This is a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, you know what it is. Team Jones has had a successful season already. Jen and her partner Brent won the mixed doubles. Then Team Jones won the event last weekend in Waterloo, and have been doing pretty well in the event so far to get to the final. And of course the favorites going into this event, so it is a shock. Though that being said, Team Man, they've made some of the shots when it counted, and Team Jones just hasn't been as sharp as we're used to seeing them.
Yeah, you look at Man's team, some good players there. Karen Trines at lead, has been to 2 Scotties, I believe. You'll have to correct me here. I don't have the facts at fingertips, so I'm trying to come from memory. Of course, Cheryl Krevizik played with Holly Duncan in the Scotties in 2018 as well. Also 5th player with Team Homan for a few years there.
Yep, correct.
There's Cheryl right there. And Kira Brunton is another young player coming up in the game that many people haven't got to know very well yet. Kira, as a junior team, won the last 2 editions. This is a women's event. The women's edition of the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard has typically been more of a regional tour event, so it attracts teams from Eastern Canada. You get Atlantic Canada coming every year. And it sort of meets that target market, with the Autumn Gold in Calgary being the event where the big teams all go to on Thanksgiving weekend. So, but Brunton won that event the last 2 years, the 3rd on Team Man, and Lauren is Quebec champion from 2017 there as well, skipping a team to the Scotties. So they certainly have some experience in the game too.
Yeah, Kira played at the Canadian level many times as well. The question here regarding sweeping, it's right now there is only 1 sweeper allowed, and that's at this event only. Every event, every region has a different ruling on what's allowed. This event is only 1 sweeper, and yes, it does have an impact, absolutely, because as a player, you're thinking of what kind of weight to throw. You have a bit of variance because you have sweepers. Well, right now you have 1 less sweeper, so you tend to put a bit more weight on it. And sometimes if you put a little bit too much on it, that can be problematic, not throwing enough to the sweepers. And then, of course, it's tougher to hold the line as much as you could with 2 sweepers generally.
Yeah, Don Bowser, shout out 2015 and 2017 Scotties for Lauren Mann. You heard in the video there, Lauren throwing the shout out to Don. They have a little wee one, and Don on diaper duty this weekend.
Way to go, Don.
It goes both ways. These curlers need great supporters at home. Family, friends helping, fill in the gaps where you need to, and making a lot of this possible. Of course, great sponsorships as well for these teams, and that's something this year that is a concern for a lot of these teams. They've got a lot of great sponsors that have stepped up and are continuing to support these teams this season, even with the pandemic and lack of television games. So, we've been offering to roll their commercials along with the event here. A lot of the sponsors that support the Stu Sells series over the years are also being given the opportunity to show their product at the same time too. Rather than leave that empty, we want to make sure that we still support them back and give what we can, as these times are challenging trying to find funds.
Yeah, that is. So everybody's in tough right now, and especially I feel for the teams like Team Jones who do make a living doing what they do here. They have some other jobs that they do, but I want to say do curling full time to some respect, and this is a big change, and you can't do it without those sponsors. So any chance to give back, I mean, not only as teams, but us as curlers, we're supported by our small businesses, our local communities. So please do what you can to support them if you're in the position to do so.
Yeah, we've got a great opportunity in the sport to, to get to know the athletes a little bit better. The coverage that Team Cooey is putting forward is something that, they're going to have their own marketing and information, the players, interviews, all kinds of fun features, behind the scenes stuff when it's part of their own team coverage. I think there's been a few interviews posted on Team Cooey's wall already, and I think this is an opportunity to better connect with fans, and it's a great opportunity for sponsors to get involved at that really strong connection point for fans as well.
Like, as you can see, we've been getting pretty junky on this end. No rocks in the house yet, but Kira attempting to change that around with a draw in behind their center-ish guard that's tight to the rings. Crucial that they get this in and buried so there's no hit and roll available.
Yeah, certainly impossible to play defense at this point. You're still going to have to keep the foot on the gas, and this call here, as much, what is it? A good defense is a good offense.
Yeah, sometimes
right
best defense is offense, yeah. And you can see they didn't quite get it tucked. It's about half, a little more than half exposed, so that hit and roll behind the corners is there. We'll can't throw a ton of weight at this, so you need to be able to stick around, but also need to make that roll.
This shot, not a terrible one for Mann to even be behind the tee line. Like, if you were to go deep back 4 foot here, you then end up strangling the whole scoring area for Team Jones.
Yeah,
they're going to come down and make a good shot. They're going to sit shot on their next shot, likely. So the chances are pretty good that you're going to give up a point by setting that up. But if you then lock it down with your next shot, then, it's still real tough to score. This instead now is open. They can make a roll, and if they make a good roll here, Jones has a chance to score 2, probably even 3.
Great scrub. And it looks like they might have got a piece of it buried. Tough to tell how much, but it appears there's probably at least a quarter showing, maybe a half.
Yeah, I think you can see most of that stone.
Oh,
yeah.
And great angle to see, pretty much most. But
on the ball, Evan Seacombe and his crew, Steven and Jake on switching.
Yeah, beautiful. This is their second weekend doing it, right?
Yep. Last weekend was the first time they ever shot curling.
Well done.
Now it's old hat. I'm sure they're dreaming curling every night they go to bed.
So this hit and roll is pretty crucial. Again, need to get it buried somewhere behind, ideally right behind their redstone, but anywhere buried so that hit and roll isn't available again. And to answer your question about what is going on in the other game on the ice, it's tied 4-4 after 3 ends, Kathy Auld versus Emily Duchesne. And you can also keep an eye on the line scores on curlingzone.com. Close widths, just sticking on that center line. Need it to curl up. It will get the roll and Raiden behind the pile.
Yeah, so now Jones has about 4.5 feet of space to try and score 2 or more here.
So as you can see, the call is top 4. Buried behind. Thank you for the question about my team. It would usually be an event we'd be playing in, but we just felt right now the risk wasn't for us worth it. We have two of us have partners, myself included, who are first responders, and we were well aware of what the situation is looking like. And at this point, we just decided for our own health and safety, we felt it was best not to play. But we're really looking forward to hitting the ice at some point this season. Playing it by ear, as everyone knows, it's changes on an almost daily basis.
Yeah, I think it's something we're seeing from everybody, and policies have been put in place with us too to make that decision as easy as possible on teams that need to do that at the same time. We did have a team withdraw Friday from this tournament just as things have been changing, and same thing, no penalty in that situation. We just figured out how to make it work and move forward.
And beautiful line. It looked like it held on 4 shot, but it's at the back 8, fighting back 4.
Now this, the team without hammer, going a little deep like that is okay, but with hammer, you just might handcuff yourself here into being forced or even giving up a steal.
That shot kind of tells the story of what's been happening with the Jones team this game, that it just haven't been as sharp, haven't gone the rocks in the right place. It's not all bad, like you had the right line but didn't quite get the weight or have the right weight, not have the line. So that's basically the story of the game so far. But still buried, still shot, and important shot for Lauren to make right now. Top 4 would be pretty good place, even a little bump, a little tap back or a freeze would be nice. Cheryl picking that up right away. Indication from Karen that it's down. It's a head down pound situation. Need to avoid touching the tight guard. And well done. So now this will just be a open draw to the button for the single. And again, thank you everyone for tuning in from coast to coast to coast and also from around the world. If you have any questions that Blake answered, please feel free to write in on the comment section on YouTube or Facebook. The last shot of the 4th end.
Drawing for a single point here. Hair heavy, but good enough. Single point for Jennifer Jones gets them on the board. Team Man with the force, though, will get the hammer back for 5. We'll be right back. Can they hold on here at the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard? Streaming live from the KW Granite Club in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. We'll be right back.
No matter what speed you're comfortable with, the G50 line has a shoe for you.
That's comfortable and stylish.
When it was time to get his first pair of curling shoes, we went with Goal Line. Now it's time for the G50.
Looks great, but it grips better than anything.
Man, this is a light curling shoe.
These remind me of why I like to play the game.
This is actually the most comfortable curling shoe I have ever owned. It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Firehouse Subs has so many delicious quality subs. There's something for everyone. But the one that started it all more than 25 years ago was the Hook and Ladder. Piping hot and piled high with freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, honey ham, melted Monterey Jack, and loaded with the freshest toppings on a toasted roll. Try the Hook and Ladder today to find out why everyone keeps coming back again and again. The Hook and Ladder. One bite and you'll be hooked. Visit firehousesubs.ca to order online.
Some people see the world a little differently. Where others see problems, they see possibilities. And they have the curiosity and ingenuity to turn those light bulb moments into awesome realities. We know who you are.
Back here with the fifth end, joined by Danielle Inglis for this women's championship final.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Nice, quiet Thanksgiving Monday afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Absolutely. What better way to spend it than watching some curling? Absolutely wonderful. And we have this final game on. We also have a second game on the ice, Team Ald and Team Deschaines. And it's currently Team Deschaines leading 6-4 after 4 ends. There are also events going on across the country, and all of those scores can be found on curlingzone.com.
I guess we're having some hiccups from the McKee homes in Airdrie. Working on trying to sort out the scoreboard there. Something on our end, we're trying to figure it all out. The gremlins are always alive.
You know, technology is so wonderful until sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah. There are days. We had some challenges with the women's standings for this event. We do apologize for anybody who was trying to figure out where everybody ranked. But with changes in the draw and going back and forth a couple of times, it actually broke something. And it took me a while to figure out how to fix it. So
and know that these working hard to get these events, it's a lot of time, a lot of hard work and technology to bring it all to you. Know that there have been people asking about the donation link. There's a GoFundMe set up for more streaming to happen, and Jerry can also throw it into the Facebook chat for you to see as well. And thanks for the question.
yeah, we'll throw that in there. We'll have a little piece from Stu coming up in the next end. That was in the role plan here. But yeah, Stu Sankey of Stu Sells Realty. He kind of fell in love with curling about 11, 12 years ago, and Roy Arndt made the introduction at the High Park Club, and it's been amazing since to see what Stu sees in this game and the love he has for supporting it and growing it. This was the original event, the first of the Stu Sells series. Grew to include Oakville, and then mixed doubles event. There's a number of junior events as well. There's like a new to curling, a new competitive curler type event as well. And he continues to expand the series, picking up 2 Ontario Curling Tour regional series type events as a chase for a new car from Brantford Nissan. So pretty exciting to see the growth and development out of this, and what he means to the sport in Toronto is amazing.
Yeah, he is so phenomenal for what he's done for the sport, and he does it because he loves it and to support the great curler. So we all truly appreciate that.
Yeah, the sponsorship this year that Stu put in went to purchasing the streaming equipment that makes this possible, but there still is a cost to help fund the work. There's a great team behind the scenes. Evan Seacombe in charge there with, again, Steven on the camera and Jake switching. This team, there is a cost to having these events covered, and we're looking forward to the KW Fall Classic as another event here as well. There's an under-21 junior event that the Stu Sells series hosts at the same time too, and we're talking about bringing it here to KW, and we'd love to cover it and make that possible as well. And that's where the funds will go in this campaign, is to cover the cost of production here. So, you know, looking forward to hopefully doing some more events going on through this winter.
So Team Man has been trying to double off those front guards, and they've been making the singles, but there's still a few rocks out front, which we'll see in a moment as this rock passes the hog line. Team Jones attempting for a draw around for a guard, a second tighter guard, right around that top guard. Just being patient right now and waiting to have a good rock to come around. Question here, with the tick being harder on club ice, does that make it easier to come back from a 3-point deficit? Based on that logic of being harder, yes. It makes it easier to come back when there are more rocks in play. I mean, to generate points, you need rocks in play. So depending on where those tick attempts happen, it does.
One of the things that happens in curling clubs specifically is that the sheets are a little bit more narrow. When you get into the championship ice at the Scotties, the Brier, the Grand Slams, the Worlds, you end up having wider sheets in a lot of cases, so that tick shot has more room. The other thing in those arenas, sometimes you get a little bit of frost buildup on the edges, and you get a bit of a wall that you got to push that rock through at the same time too.
Exactly. And if you're just tuning in with us here in the game, Team Jones is playing with 3. Caitlin Laws had to go home for unexpectedly, but so you'll just see the 3 players out on the ice this game. Team Man peeling off that tight guard. Looks like there's going to be another attempt by Jocelyn to replace that guard. They'd like to see this one almost fully tucked in behind there, so that Team Man will be looking at peeling the top guard instead of the tighter guard.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You still could peel the tight one, but there's a real risk of jamming it into the rings.
Looks like that's exactly what they're talking about right now. You can see where that yellow one is in relation.
Yeah, you'd love to just peel that tight one. Well, Man's going to play they're looking at just hitting the yellow one on the side there. You get a long roll in here. Would be ideal if you could get it to the top of the forefoot almost. Kira Brunton with third stones. Kira of Sudbury.
Now they're rolling past the guard, so we're rolling it as far out into the open as possible to make the hit and roll tougher for Team Jones.
I still like that shot. That roll is a good spot. They have to deal with it there, likely. And it's always easier to draw to a spot than to hit and roll to a spot. There's so many lines out here. I can't remember what you told me or somebody else told me or...
There are spots here. Yeah, this one, it curls a little bit more towards the board, the middle sheet here. There are certain tricky spots along the ice. It's just perennially been that way at KW, where there are some straighter spots, particularly in the forefoot lines, especially on the board side of the sheet. Even when you get out into mid-12, you have to be careful because there's a point where it curls well, and then there's also a point where it can get stuck out in no man's land.
I'm getting some help from the fans. That was Chelsea's line from last night's game. I can't even remember when I last talked to Chelsea now. I'm going a little loopy, Danielle.
Man, you've been pulling some long hours, Jerry.
I think it was almost 30 hours of coverage last weekend.
Well, it's
2.5 times 4, 10, 20, 6. Yeah, close to that again.
a great call by Team Jones to play the rub redirect off of the red in the top. They did get mostly buried there. So Team Man is calling the freeze, or even the freeze tap here will work. And they do have to negotiate past that rock that's sitting in the top 8, top 4 area. And of course, there's some center line guards as well. I'm looking for the draw to the back. You need to get by the red in the top 4. A touch of a kiss off of it, and they do get the yellow. July 3.
Lauren has come to play today.
She has. It's a great communication by the whole team to make that shot happen. As you see, there is only the one sweeper, but the other sweeper is sliding along or walking alongside and helping communicate what's going on with the rock, the weight, to better help make a shot. So they're looking at their options here. They could draw, but the trouble is that red in the top is what they're concerned about. Because if they draw, Team Man could always have an in-off, which is why they're also looking at the hidden roll right now, though, as Jerry pointed out earlier, hidden rolls are a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I can't see the stones out front, so I'm not 100% certain what it looks like there. But, Jones can't be too happy here. 3 man stones in the rings and not many weapons left.
Well, there's not a lot of great places to hide. Is there a triple there? Yes. Not an easy one by any means. If it was easy, she would have put the broom down and already been throwing the rock.
Yeah, Jones, one of the best in the game at coming back from behind. It's sort of been her moniker forever that no lead has ever been safe. The way Team Jones plays the game with the aggressive attack, they're never out of it. So, for Jones here, even giving up 2 is not end of the game.
But what is game ending is if they give up a whole bundle here.
Yeah, 3's going to make it real tough. And obviously any more than that. And we may see handshakes here.
So very, very crucial shot here. They need to make sure they get the roll, and not only get the roll, but stay shot or second shot buried. And there are two rocks, center line-ish guards up on the right side of the center line that they can bury behind. So they need the hit and roll here.
Makes the shot, gets the roll. Is it buried?
I believe so. Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautifully thrown, beautifully called and swept. And that's why she's one of the best.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so you can't see from the overhead, but there are two guards that are pretty much perfectly guarding that yellow in the top four. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, there isn't sweeping allowed behind the tee line by the skips or vices when they're standing there, so that's why no one was sweeping the other rocks. And that's why, even more so, you have to be precise with how you're throwing the rock.
Only the one active sweeper in play.
Yeah. Whoever's sweeping that rock. A chance to find that button weight, which you hope every skip has in their back pocket.
Some great viewership numbers, up over 1,700, looks like. Pushing 1,800 now. Help us push over 2,000. Almost 1,000 on both YouTube and Facebook. Anything you can do to share this doesn't cost you anything. It's a huge help for us when you share this to your friends and family. That was a draw there. It's 1 or 2.
That would be 1.
1 point on the board for Team Mann. They'll carry this 4-point lead into the 6th end. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey guys, we are here at the Summit at King and Bathurst, and this condo complex is... Hey fellow curling fans, it's Stu here from the Stu Sells series. And I know that with COVID happening, curling tournaments getting canceled, curling clubs are being postponed or not opening, and you're all missing competitive curling. Well, I've got some great news. The KW Granite Club has stepped up to the plate, and this weekend they're going to host the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard, and on Thanksgiving weekend they're going to host the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. And I went out, I invested a lot of money, and I bought top-of-the-line streaming equipment. So I've got great news. We're going to bring you live competitive curling online through the StuCurls.com site and Curling Zone. So we're going to bring some great curling for you to watch. So I want you to grab your beer or your Chardonnay, grab your snacks, sit back and enjoy. But the reason for this video and the GoFundMe campaign is the live streaming is really, really expensive. And I didn't want to have you subscribe to something or pay a fee to sign up to watching curling. I want to bring curling to all the curling fans across Canada, the United States, and the world. So we're just asking everyone to go on the GoFundMe page and donate $10, $20 and help us do the live streaming for this weekend, next weekend, and if we raise more money, we can do live streaming at all other events too. So remember, stay safe out there, 6 feet apart, wash your hands, wear a mask, and go to the Stu Sells Instagram and tell me what you think about my funky new backsplash.
Glenn Howard here. I'm a proud beer store manager, one of 7,000 hardworking employees. There's been a lot of talk lately about putting beer in the corner stores. So let's talk about the beer store. We keep prices down with our efficient distribution system. We check IDs, keeping beer out of the hands of minors. We take back and recycle 87% of beer containers sold in Ontario. And we love what we do. I'm proud to say when it comes to selling beer, the beer store does it the best.
Back to play here in the sixth end. My name's Jerry Gertz of Curling Zone, joined by Danielle Inglis. Skip of Team Inglis.
Thanks for having me. If I'm not going to be curling, I might as well be watching and talking about it.
Yeah, I think you've thrown a couple comments at me from games as noticed that you have been watching. So really great to have you tuning in, and obviously on the broadcast as well. You've done a bit of this in the past. You've had some work with Sportsnet, done on some of these other side broadcasts. Always great to hear your voice on air, Danielle.
Well, I appreciate that. Anytime I get a chance to talk about my favorite thing, sign me up.
There you go.
Though I will say I enjoy being on the other side of the camera more on the ice than, even wearing my shirt I picked up from the Briar, the happiest on the ice shirt today, but I'll settle for the second best position, which is sitting here watching and talking.
Yeah, it's not a bad sport to be involved in. Certainly, we see each other on the curling trail around the country, yourself with the association, and covering the sport all over the place. So many amazing stories around our sport.
There really are, which I think it's great, Jerry, that you've been doing this streaming. The smaller events, of course, we see all the slams on Sportsnet. We see the Season of Champions events from Curling Canada on TSN. So this is, and these small events are, significantly smaller this year during the COVID season, but they don't get the type of attention because it's just usually simply not possible to do. It takes a lot of time, money, energy to put together broadcasts like this, but it's great to see you take the time to do this, Jerry. I know it's no small feat.
This is where the sport is develops and grows. This is essentially Ontario Curling Tour and a number of events across the province that teams like Team Mann just grind it out every weekend, and Team Jacobs started here. As a team, Brad Jacobs, EJ, and Ryan Harnden with a handful of players that kind of flowed through that lineup. They cut their teeth on the Ontario Curling Tour circuit. They drove down from Sault Ste. Marie every weekend and battled these events, and that helped prepare them for the bigger games. They got better. They did all the training, and now they're the number one ranked team in the world. So I'm quite proud of what we've been able to do in Ontario with these events and build this, and we're seeing this model succeed in other places as well, which is great for the sport.
It is, and back to that comment about stories, you're hearing the stories that you may not necessarily hear all the time on that Canadian or world stage, but there are some pretty accomplished players out on the ice.
And I think a note was sent. There's 11 Scotties appearances on the Mann team on the ice right now.
Yep, and even more Canadian appearances on their team just period, with Kira included, with her junior and university career. Bit of a battle for angles, though, in this sixth end. Team Jones has that rock locked around the button area, even though Team Mann is sitting two. They're in a pretty decent position. That being said, they do have to be careful about where they manipulate this next stone. And see the way the top red is angled, that if they're throwing a slash, they want to be careful that they don't lose their yellow. A question regarding do teams play in these kind of events? Yes, there's still World Curling Tour events. You'll see the teams come in. There are some bigger World Curling Tour events, so ones that aren't slam events, that you'll see the teams playing. Typical one is the Shorey Jenkins that's out in Cornwall, which was canceled for this season. You'll typically see a lot of the bigger names playing in that one. Also a few in, well, we saw the Oakville Tankard being played last weekend, but typically that's towards the beginning of September. You'll have a lot of teams from across Canada and international teams who come over to play in the events and train in Canada, as well as all the other teams that you're seeing out on the ice now, plus a few of us who usually play in it, but not this year due to COVID. And
yeah, there's some good events out there. These teams are going to play. You know, when you look at the Jennifer Joneses of the curling tour, they're probably putting in about 100 to 120 games a season. So when the Scotties is 10 to 14 games, I think teams tend to play. You've got each slam is 4 in the round robin, plus maybe up to 3 playoff games. There's still another probably 30, 40 games that these teams play in tour events like this inside of curling clubs. And typically these events are either free entry to come watch, or there's a really small ticket price to get in the door. And it's an amazing place to interact with the teams and watch them play up close and personal.
So right now they're having a chat, even though Team Man sitting, it looks like first, second, and third shot. But that Jones Rock we mentioned before, top button, is in a pretty good position. They talked about guarding the situation so that Team Jones would be forced to run in a red rock to clear it up. And thank you for the question about how you get into those big circuit events like the slams. The very brief answer to that is you accumulate points based on the events, how you do in the events. And the more points you accumulate, the higher on the standings you get on the world rankings. And based on your ranking, you get invited to a slam. So that's the Coles Notes version of that.
Yeah, it's essentially a merit ranking system. The ranking of the teams goes into the calculation of how strong an event is, and then those points are divvied out to the teams who do well at the end of the weekend. So an event like this would be typically part of that points ranking.
That was a big scrub by Cheryl. A little higher than they had wanted it to be, but it looks like they got the line, though. There could be a hole. Jocelyn standing out there evaluating. So it looks like they were lining up that red center line, the one tight to the house, to run it back onto the red and potentially spill a bunch of the reds at the back. They're also evaluating what it would look like if they run that top red in. And then I think draw tap is also one of the calls. Let's see what it ends up being once the broom goes down. So I believe that's a wide clockwise turn that they're looking to play. So it's a freeze tap on the red rock that you can see over on the side. Line their yellows up across the reds is the idea.
This spot has had a tendency to be a fair bit heavier, so she's going to have to make sure she throws this pretty hard. I believe Jones has seen this a few times already. This is coming with a bit of weight. Looks pretty good. I need the curl to do the work here. Watch this come in. Good stone there. It sort of moves one of the man stones back. They were going to have to move a couple to get a multiple points here. Now part one accomplished there.
Yep, well done. It looks like the weight's a little bit up. As mentioned, you can see there's a bit of frost happening out there, so you've got to be careful. That see the rock really coming down now. Weight just coming off.
Good stone in line there. Blocks off the draw tap again.
So eventually they've been lining up, Team Jones has been lining up their rocks on top. So they've got the angles, but eventually they're going to need to drive something in. You saw Jocelyn standing out there by the yellow rock looking at an angle run-in. Certainly not a gimme, but the thing with the yellow though is that you have to make it right on the first one, because you can see with all the rocks up front there that if you miss it, there aren't really too many other great options. Certainly it would have to be looking at running a red in.
No, there's options, but it's for one.
Exactly.
Like Jones has that run for one. It's pretty much a gimme there for her. Gets it close to nose, she's going to score one. This shot, however, could be to lie 4 here right now.
This is a big shot if they can pull this off.
Jocelyn Peterman throwing the middle 3 stones here for Team Jones this weekend. Run back here. Half the 3/4 run this into the pile. Just curled across the face there.
And it was unfortunate where it rolled to as well.
Yeah, it makes that short run back difficult now.
Oh, Team Jones not just knocking the brakes this game. That being said, they're not out of options. Full disclosure, when they were calling that last shot, I thought it was Jen's rock, first rock of that end. Sometimes tough to tell when we're watching from the same stream.
I didn't notice that, so
yeah,
that was good.
But
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, until Jocelyn got in the hack. Surprise. That being said, Team Jones is still in a pretty powerful position with their 2 rocks locked on top, which is why you see Team Mann really discussing that. Still not great angles for Team Jones, but a lot of respect that Team Mann is showing Team Jones, in that they know they need to make the right decision on where they put this rock, because there are still options. The question was, did Team Jones throw the out turn thinking it might float? Yeah, tight ice, and that's a spot on the ice where it can tend to float with up weight.
That stone didn't seem to float though, did it?
It didn't, but that's where sometimes when you're thinking that, when you're going to throw a rock and thinking it might float, you might even turn it in as a result. And a turn in can be just as detrimental as poking it out there too. So
Yeah, when you put your wheels on the gravel on one side and end up in the ditch on the other side, right?
I like that analogy.
You just gotta ease it back.
A question regarding what people are doing or what people can do if there is no ice, their club isn't open yet. There are some other options available. I'll give a shout out to Rock Solid Productions. They're a team that does a lot of floor curling, and they have non-ice curling. So they set up a plastic sheet, not quite regulation, but allows you to do some curling from wherever. Neat opportunity.
Some other ideas. You got virtual curling. Playcurling.com is a online game where you can stay sharp on your strategy and tactics.
Yeah, and they're not to mention, no worries. I was going to say, not to mention, you can also use your kitchen floor. Maybe make a rock. I've seen people using the Roombas, turning that into a rock. Some tin cans on ice filled with cement. You can get really creative, and it would be fun to see what people do. Table curling, we've seen those ones that you can just put on a table anywhere. It's like a little shuffleboard table.
Get the garden hose out, water the street down.
A dead end street.
All right, back to the curling.
So what they ended up electing to play was a little bit more of a guard. Didn't want to give Team Jones an opportunity to come in and play anything off of the side yellows. As you can see there, we've got tons of rocks in play, not a lot of great options, so I bet we're going to be seeing some rocks flying after this shot.
Yeah, still options here for Jennifer. She can get this across the nose, make the double on those two in the middle. If she hits it right, she could drive this red stone back into the rings and kind of disrupt that pile, leave her yellow sitting shot after this. Probably wants to hit about 3/4 on the inside. Left side of the screen there from the long shot. With some weight. It's got to be close.
That's pretty close.
That will do. Left the run back in the middle as well.
Yeah, all about what leaving options. That's what's important here. It's not just what you make, it's what you leave.
On the nose, 4-4 right now for Jones.
So you can see a really good picture there from that long shot of the yellow and how it can be used to drive back and potentially even get 3 for Team Jones. You can bet that Team Man's talking about a guard on that rock.
Yeah, you got to figure out how to put something else in there. Block this off somehow. But the challenge is that guard is fairly high, and there isn't a lot of room to put another stone in there.
Yeah, you have to be really careful. You're right, Cherry. It's either you put one just over, or if it starts coming a little bit closer, you've got to make sure that you leave it at an angle that doesn't make it easier for the opposition. I think maybe even here you could look a little tough to see from the angles, but could even look at putting a guard somewhere in between the yellow rock and the red rock at the left-hand side up there and taking away both the red and the yellow at the same time. Tough, but it's there. You may want to bring the big rock to throw for that one. Extra wide. That only applies, for the record, when you make your own rocks and play it on ice outdoors. But
the challenge here, you definitely don't want to come heavy, wreck your own stone, and open the door there. But that's something we do see happen sometimes.
And you don't want to leave Jennifer with the exact same shot that she just played either. So we did talk about how you could make it perfect, but you also at the same time just need to remember that at bare minimum, you need to guard that rock. Looks like it's got some heat on it.
You kind of bounce off a stone here.
And here
this is going to bounce. Good angle.
May not have been exactly what they were intending, but the effect was the same.
Yeah. That's where you really have to have good communication, control that, know that. You know, sweepers say, hey, we're heavy. You know, this is what we got to do. So now then you alter the call and sweep for line in that situation, and that angle left is perfect.
Great team shot. Now you can see they're looking at their options off of the yellow combination.
So likely something here for Jones to get 2 now still.
And what they did with that little tap is they took away the possibility of running in a yellow rock for 3. Though I shouldn't possibly for 4. We'll say I shouldn't say take away right away. It could still be there. A little tough to tell, but
no, this angle, we got the line here now, I think. I don't think there's any shot there for 4 anymore. Had you been able to throw that yellow straight back and stick it, you're going to hit it like almost like 7/8. It's going to stay in the rings. That rock would have carried back through and likely clipped the back one based on the angles. And there's your 4 in the 8-foot. But, yeah, looking at this angle here on the side, looks like it's yellow onto red. Onto the top of that yellow, it'll then kick out the side door. The red will go out the back, and yellow should score 2 here.
Just as easy as that, right, Jerry?
You got it.
And what you really want to do when you're trying to line up all those angles, you need to just simply think about where you have to hit that first rock. And from there, focus on that when you're in the hack.
Here it is, last shot, 6th end. Jones looking for the angle here. Too thin. Be a steal of another point for Team Mann. They'll go up 6-1 here in the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, fellow curling fans. Hey guys, welcome to the Stu Sells team's brand new listing. And I am so pumped to bring 113th Street to market. This is a super cool house. We are in New Toronto. The lake is right there. The bike path is right there. Do you know what? I've always said in real estate, this area of Lakeshore, New Toronto, is going to be the next beaches of Toronto. You can see the development. And voila, we have this great raised bungalow. The ceilings in the basement are 8 feet tall, and you have a 1-bedroom apartment in the basement for extra income. And you know what? My client has done all the hard work. She's taken out the walls. She's put in the structural support beam. So everything's there to put a second story on, or you know what? Just come to this beautiful country-like setting backyard and just chill. The home has a lot of upgrades. Like I said, it has the beam. It's an open concept. And you know what? The crazy thing about this bungalow is it actually has a front hall closet, which most bungalows don't. So look, go to stusells.ca. You can see all the pictures and videos of this amazing backyard. You can take a tour of the area and call me Stu and come have a showing.
Some people see the world a little differently. Where others see problems, they see possibilities. And they have the curiosity and ingenuity to turn those light bulb moments into awesome realities. We know who you are.
Back here in the seventh end. My name's Jerry Gertz of curlingzone.com, joined by Danielle Inglis, here for this women's championship final of the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard. We've been streaming live from the KW Granite Club in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. New home for the events this weekend, or this season, I guess.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The KW Granite took on a couple of the events that are usually held in the Toronto area. And know that the players appreciate it, and know the fans appreciate all the work that you guys have been doing, Jerry, in bringing this onto everyone's screens.
Yeah, special thank you to Matt Wilkinson, president of the KW Granite Club, his wife Amanda, who's been a great support and a great help here this week as well. 3 weeks, months leading up to this and the preparations for these events. Of course, the ice crew, led by Rob, put together an amazing job this week. I know Matt sent me a note here. So I want to recognize some of the sponsors of the KW Granite Club here. We've got Parkway Ford, JDI Cleaning Systems, Highgate Active Living, Wilfrid Laurier University, which is where Rink in the Park, the KW Granite Club, is on the grounds of, Waterloo Brewing, of course, City of Waterloo, Culligan Water, the Sock Factory, and the Heidelberg Restaurant and Tavern. So we certainly appreciate the support there. Two more here, Paradigm Transportation and Paul's Homes. So special thank you to the KW Granite Club for becoming our home here for curling in Ontario, kind of our hub response to the pandemic and try and get curling on the ice.
And yes, it is Team Man up 6-1 over Team Jones.
It's the Kira Brunton effect. Third stone on Team Man. Champion last 2 seasons. Looking like she's going to be on that podium for the 3rd year in a row here. 6-1 lead with 2 ends to go.
And for everyone just joining us, curling does look a little bit different this season. We won't go into the whole thing, but basically there are some modified rules due to COVID. The one sweeper effect, where players are positioned on the ice and whatnot. These are all based off of the guidelines from Curling Canada that were put out back in June. Please note again that those are just guidelines and that it's up to each club to take into account the considerations from the government and their local health authorities and each event. So that's why you're seeing streaming and the games in Ontario looking different than the ones from Alberta, and going through the season, you'll see the games looking a bit different, and it all depends on what it looks like.
Yeah, I agree with that, Danielle. I think that's a really good point. And we've seen a few comments in the chat there, people kind of getting a little upset about it, how it's different in Alberta versus here. And you got to remember, if we were different countries, we'd have different rules. So, we're following all the local health guidelines, and every event is going to be doing the same thing to trying to get the sport off the ground as safe as possible.
Yeah, and there is a difference between competitive versus club curling, and what makes sense. So as you go through the season, just know that these rules aren't static; they're changing, and what you may end up seeing in future events, whether it's an event that's more regionalized, like this one, a smaller one, or one of the big ones that we hope that we see later on this season on TV, the rules may all look different at that point. Just really depends on what we do. Please wear a mask.
Yeah, agreed.
Basically, so that we can get back curling, if nothing else. But let's keep everyone safe. And back to our feature game here at the seventh end. You saw Team Mann playing a series of peels. Team Jones just at this point trying to use every rock and play tied behind there, going for a draw behind, I believe, on that one. Came up a bit short, but still a rock and play, so that's crucial.
Yeah, that one's not going anywhere right now, so useful rock. I think for Jones, if they can somehow find a way to get 3 on the board, you know, a little bit of pressure, maybe a mistake late in the end here, could turn that into 4. So Mann just clearing the stone here. Again, it's all about rock count here. Getting rid of something like this takes the big end out of play. No need to mess with the middle right now.
That's exactly it, Jerry. Like, the shots may be a little bit more straightforward, but a miss or 2 misses here and there in the end can turn around in a hurry. Now, what they are looking at here, they're looking at using those 2 rocks as in the top of the house as guards. But what they also have to be careful about is the drag effect on that rock, and so therefore where they place the rock in behind. Don't want to line it up. But the call was for about a back 8.
Just a funny comment in the chat there about the spinning the rock. Just a little reference there, Rugged English. That does not necessarily warm up the stone in any kind of cheating way. Just a heads up there.
As a matter of fact, what it does, it's all part of 2 things actually. One, it's part of a pre-shot routine. So every player has one before they get into the hack. What they're doing is they're preparing to throw the shot. So it's all part of the mental game. The second thing, it actually does serve a practical function in that the rocks have they're big chunks of granite, but they have little micro, let's say, holes, for lack of a better word. And so by spinning it, it collects a little bit of frost or ice underneath of it, so it helps it slide smoother. So it actually does have a practical application. And most of the times when they're sitting there thinking it, they're just trying to get in the best mental headspace before the shot is thrown. Now, that rock obviously didn't land where they wanted it to in the back 8, but it still is useful. Any rock and play at this point is great. Now, they're just being cautious about this rock because I believe there's a potential for a jam, Jerry, if I saw that correct, from an overhead.
Just waiting for a look at it here.
It looks like as a result, they've opted to draw.
It's been an impressive performance here by Team Mann here today. We had one of their early games this weekend, and you could certainly see the rust in their game. Team Mann, this is their first event of the season, so They've certainly righted the ship pretty quickly this weekend.
You know, it's tough too for a lot of these teams coming into this because there's very little ice available right now, especially in Ontario. So they probably came into this cold as well. So no practice.
Yeah, they might have got some practice ice on Friday during the day ahead of the event. But yeah, that was the best. That was the most they had. And that's one of the other challenges behind the scenes here.
It is, but you know what? All the players are adapting really well, and everybody's just doing the best they can with the circumstances. And it's wonderful to see everyone come together to try to make the best of it. Fans, curlers alike. So they were trying to draw into the top 4. It's like it's going to slide. Will sit second shot here in the back 8.
Again, just forcing the issue here. You can't make that top stone count with that back one in place. So, you know, just sort of owning the position a little bit here, out counting stones. That's all Team Mann is trying to do.
Looking like it could be a skipper's deuce, though, for Team Jones. Crucial on the rock placement of this first one. Want to make sure that they bury it preferably above tee line.
Really nice comment from Kevin Ford in the Facebook stream, having met Jennifer Jones at one point. This rock just gliding.
Oh, again, had the line all day, but just not the weight. And it's a tough spot on the ice because when you up your weight, even a couple feet, it runs a bit straighter, doesn't catch the curl, and the weight doesn't come off of it. Tricky spot. So Team Mann with great opportunity here to, I like to say, really stick the knife in and twist it if they can put it in.
Yeah.
So just biting top 4, half top 4.
Yeah, that shot there was just a matter of being about 4 feet too heavy, 5 feet too heavy. You know, with the track of that stone, it looked like she missed on the line as well. But that was just the result of the fact it was too heavy. This ice will punish you. It'll run straight if you throw too much weight, and that's just what happened there.
Absolutely. Well, she's about to say a comment about all the curlers out on this ice right now are all wonderful. If you ever get a chance to chat with them one-on-one, they're all great humans. Great ambassadors from the sport. You don't always see everything on TV. It doesn't tell that. They're fierce competitors and wonderful humans, and respect, a lot of respect for everyone out on the ice surface right now.
You see their game face on the ice, right?
Yeah.
We've had Chelsea Carey on here a number of times, and you know, on the ice, she's a very fierce competitor. She brings a strong presence to the ice, but off the ice, she's a much different person. And it's, you know, I think sometimes their game face isn't really truly reflective of who you are.
No, and I mean, a man puts on a game face and he's serious and focused. A woman puts on a game face and she's throwing in the spirit
of
the
yeah, we're there. Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. You can't always judge by what you see on TV here, and respect for all the players out here. Looks like they're looking at this shot, a potential triple even to get a couple. Really at this point, of course, they could make the easier draw for the single, but that would be the end of the game. They really need to make a play for a bundle. we're going to see a lot of heat coming from the Jones team, hoping to move not only the rocks on the top, but there's 2 red rocks in the back. So looking for a triple here to score a couple, 2 or 3. And they do.
Oh man, you needed to keep those yellows in play. Unfortunately.
Oh, so very close, but that's a steal of 1, and I suspect, well, not handshakes, but a wave.
Yeah, that was a good game. We are done here. Team Man will win 7-1 over Jennifer Jones. Convincing fashion here for Lauren Mann, Kira Brunton, Cheryl Krevizuk, and Karen Trines, champions of the Stu Sells Toronto Tankard here for 2020. What do you think, Danielle?
Oh, well, Team Jones had a rough day, just not sharp, not getting the rocks in the right position, and Team Man really showed up today, and they deserve that win. So congratulations to Team Man on first win of the season.
Thanks a lot for everyone for tuning in. We will be back 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Glenn Howard and John Epping in the men's final. Exciting. Looking forward to that one. Until then, everyone take care and enjoy your turkey dinner.
Happy Thanksgiving.
When I sweep with the Gold Line Fiber Light, I feel like I'm sweeping on TV.
That's life. More surface area, better results.
It's that easy.
It's that easy.
You need to sweep for weight? You need to sweep with this.
Now, every time I curl, people ask me, what are you sweeping with?
What are you sweeping with?
What are you sweeping with?
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Some people see the world a little differently. Where others see problems, they see possibilities. And they have the curiosity and ingenuity to turn those light bulb moments into awesome realities. We know who you are.
Firehouse Subs has so many delicious quality subs. There's something for everyone. But the one that started it all more than 25 years ago was the Hook and Ladder. Piping hot and piled high with freshly sliced smoked turkey breast, honey ham, melted Monterey Jack, and loaded with the freshest toppings on a toasted roll. Try the Hook and Ladder today to find out why everyone keeps coming back again and again. The Hook and Ladder. One bite and you'll be hooked. Visit firehousesubs.ca to order online.
Hey guys, welcome to the Stu Sells team's brand new listing. And I am so pumped to bring 113th Street to market. This is a super cool house. We are in New Toronto. The lake is right there. The bike path is right there. Do you know what? I've always said in real estate, this area of Lakeshore, New Toronto, is going to be the next beaches of Toronto. You can see the development. And voila, we have this great raised bungalow. The ceilings in the basement are 8 feet tall, and you have a 1-bedroom apartment in the basement for extra income. And you know what? My client has done all the hard work. She's taken out the walls. She's put in the structural support beam. So everything's there to put a second story on, or you know what? Just come to this beautiful country-like setting backyard and just chill. The home has a lot of upgrades. Like I said, it has the beam. It's an open concept, and you know what? The crazy thing about this bungalow is it actually has a front hall closet, which most bungalows don't. So look, go to stusells.ca. You can see all the pictures and videos of this amazing backyard. You can take a tour of the area and call me Stu and come have a showing.